just in a few months, we've been able to get resolution to 86% of our target. We got work to do on the response. It's been a little bit of a culture shock for brokers and others to be measured this way. And every time I turn on a new group, our metrics dropped way down. And then you could see that they start to reprioritize more time with agents and understanding that not all tickets are equal. So it's been good for us to go through this exercise. Some of these service level commitments are not necessarily, in my view, in state, because we allowed each department to tell us what they thought was possible. Now that we're measuring, we've done the build the new muscle. My next exercise will be go in and to challenge each of these groups to be more aggressive with their targets. But right now, right at 86% on resolution and 62, you can tell we're still working on building that new muscle. So the next initiative that we want to pull out of the garage and move into full production, we're calling it expresspay within 24 hours. This is a North America initiative, both Canada and the US. And Amelie's here to walk us through this in more detail. But I will tell you that, for example, in Canada, in mid-year 2022, our agent NPS for payments and transactions was in the 50s, and now we're hitting 80s. So the agents are telling us that this seems to have life. It seems to be working. And in the US, Amelie and her team continue to hit the 80s on agent NPS with this program. And even last week, I think she got into the 90s. So again, the agents are acknowledging that this pay within 24 hours seems to be something that's driving an advantage and a value to them. So anything that you want to share, Amelie? I know that you and the team and Karen and others in Canada have been working really, really hard to prove this out. And we're super excited to make sure everybody's aware of it.
Yeah, I would say it's working so well that we actually, part of the communication plan is to make sure that agents understand, because part of the pilot group is actually sharing what we're doing around ExpressPay with others that are not part of the pilot. So we're trying to get ahead of that, make sure that agents understand that there's awareness around the program, because there are some differences when you go province to province, and that's what Patrick is pulling up now. So as far as the documentation that's required, and I should back up a little bit. Essentially what ExpressPay is similar to the process that we already have in place in the US, where we are able to have an agent upload a copy of the closing documents, a copy of the check, and the TSS on our side takes that and is able to close out the transaction and disperse, right, to the agent before we actually see the funds hit Wells Fargo. So we have been piloting that program, that same program in Canada since December. It's been going really well, but there are just some differences when you go province to province around what type of documentation is required. And because we hold funds, trust funds in Canada, in all provinces, there's just some nuances there. So that's what this page is here that Patrick is scrolling to right now. When we send these communications out early next week to our agents, they're not going to see this grid. They're only going to see what applies to them in the province where they're currently, located. But we just wanted to make sure that all of you were aware that this is going to be going out. We are going to have some similar communications going out on the US side for our single check states, where this definitely applies more, just to put some buzz and awareness out there as well, because I don't think we've done that in the past in the US either.
Yep, thank you. All right, any questions from the group? Otherwise, we can do deep dives if you need any other information from us. We are meeting with the advisory councils next to go through this, and then we'll make sure that the entire staff is briefed, and then we'll launch these two initiatives out to the larger community. Probably next week would be my estimate.
Any questions?
It's just a fabulous thing. The alpha call is fabulous.